back on this week's episode of Bone Apple Tea. We get to sit down with good buddy Andrew Caudill. We've had him on the show a couple times, actually.
Yeah, he was like one of our first interviews going all the way back to the early depths of Bone Apple Tea.
Yeah, so he's a health and fitness coach, but actually we didn't talk to him about that today. He's actually a real estate agent as well. And so we talked to him about real estate and a bunch of different stuff. I mean, as most people are sort of aware right now, and if you're not, like the housing market's crazy. I mean, you know, the economy in general is crazy, but the housing market in particular is really nuts. So we talk about just like rising housing prices and interest rates, as well as, you know, is it still smart right now to get into an investment property? Some ways you can go about taking advantage of, you know, moving into a multifamily that you also rent out, that kind of stuff. And then we talk about
like how to like
Airbnbs versus rentals.
Yeah, Airbnbs versus rental. How to like increase the price of your house. Like if you're going to invest money into making a house more valuable, like areas to look for.
Yeah, like what type of things will actually add value to your house versus that won't, because, you know, making an addition to your house or doing something to your house isn't necessarily going to pay off if you want to flip it or rent it. You know, you need to know like what is there an actual return on investment of. So we talk about like things that give you a return on your investment for houses, you know. And yeah, and then we talk about towards the end there, how do you actually like start renting a place out? Because, you know, say you buy a place and you're like, all right, I want to start renting it. Well, it's like, what is the first thing you have to do? And what are some things to look out for as a somebody who's looking to rent their house if you're looking to become a landlord?
Right.
So yeah, it was really good chat and learned a lot in this episode. And it's really good for anybody who's looking or thinking about investing in real estate, or maybe who's too risk averse to do so, or is like dragging their feet on it because they don't want to jump into something. So yeah, enjoy.
It doesn't.
There's something about like just hot dogs, like hot dog water, that just grosses me out.
You made some like crazy concoction when I first met you guys. It was like mac and cheese, broccoli, and like
and tuna. Yeah, dude.
Fuck.
Dude, it was peas. It was mac and cheese, peas, and it was the fucking Randy special.
It was the Randy special. Well, I don't even think I was really eating
bro.
peas back then. I was eating the once use thing of broccoli.
Fuck.
Like it was like a packet of broccoli. I'd break it open and I would throw that into the mixture of all of it. Yeah, those are some rough days, dude. That's when I was like, oh man, I feel like I'm getting leaner, but I'm not. And it was because I would eat a whole box of pasta of mac and cheese. Yeah. And then I would have at dinner time, I'd have the rice, the like $1 rice.
Dude, and it's got all that seasoning and it's delicious, but it's literally just like 2,500 milligrams
dude, so
of sodium.
I was probably eating like 6,000 milligrams of salt, dude. I stopped doing that and lost like 10 pounds of water weight.
Dude, I'm surprised like your blood pressure wasn't through the roof.
The only reason it wasn't was probably because I was like 22.
Yeah. Those Shin ramens, they have like a ton of sodium in it, dude.
Yeah.
They're bad.
Yeah.
But they're fucking so good. Like I could have like one or two a day.
Yeah.
For like until I got sick of it.
Okay, I was like, oh.
Until I got cardiac arrest.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what though? The thing about like the Shin ramen is that like if you stack enough of them up, you can build a house. And right now, those are going for some money. You know,
that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, totally normal segue there. So let's just talk about
making houses. So
so you're wearing a suit. What's going on there?
I had to dress up for the boys.
Wheeling and dealing.
Yep. Yeah. I had to show up and dress to impress.
So for those that don't know, Coach Andy /P2/Paradigm Performance has shattered yet another paradigm in the form of real estate. Your boy's a real estate agent and he's fucking grinding it out. And you know what? Sounds like you've had some success the past couple of days here. You know what I'm saying?
Or at least you're on
Putting
like
you through the ringer, dude.
The verge of success.
Yeah, on the verge of it. I'd say.
Taste.
I guess maybe. It's not as easy as everybody makes it out to seem. You know, people who watch Selling Sunset and everything. It's I'm starting to see the reward of maybe 3 or 4 months of hard work.
Right.
Yeah. So how did you like get into it? Slash, like, what was your initial? You were like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna start doing real estate.
Wow,
makes a lot of sense. But you know,
so you mentioned the fitness thing briefly And that's kind of how I got into it. So one of my now coworkers, Tony, he came into the gym that I was working at, and he was looking for personal training. And I sat down in front of him and we started talking, and I took him through the assessment and everything. And at the end of our consultation, he's like, yeah, you know, I'll do the training and everything, but have you ever thought about doing anything else? And I was like, not necessarily. What do you mean? What do you have in mind? He's like, well, I'm looking for people on my real estate team. And that was when the thought kind of was planted in my head, but I didn't really do anything with it right away.
Right.
So I started training him, and then
that was like a year ago, right? I feel like I remember talking about that when we lived in New London.
It was exactly when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So
it was like 2 years ago, really.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
So
like
COVID hit, and then the gym closed. But I was still working with Tony, and we were training, working out, and everything. He invited me over to this little get together that he was having at his lake house, and he started telling me, you know, like what he does, and started introducing me into like real estate investing. He showed me some of his properties, and then some of the other guys who came into the party also owned properties, and they started talking about that. Long story short, I started talking to those guys, and they were like, why don't you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
And I remember that book.
Yeah. So, and really the rest was kind of history. So he offered me the job on the team. And at the time I was starting Paradigm Performance. So I didn't want to say yes to him and not give him my 100%.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to go in and not give my all to it. And I was already going in on my fitness thing. So I was like, I'm going to give this all of my attention for right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I still took the course because I wanted to learn more about it.
Yeah.
Here we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I took the course and everything, maybe a few months passed, and I was sitting on my porch, and I was like, man, I should probably take that test pretty soon.
Yeah,
I remember
right.
that.
You remember
I
that?
remember that because you sent like a snap to our group chat.
I was like, yo, should I do it? And you guys were like, yeah, fuck it, do it.
Yeah,
I was
why
like,
not?
yeah. I was like, okay. So a few months passed, and because of COVID, they pushed off like how long you needed to wait to take your test.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wonder when that's coming up. So I called the commission, and they were like, oh yeah, you can still take that test by tomorrow. The last
that's
day.
right.
is
Literally, you were like, I got to
tomorrow.
grind it out all night and
Yeah.
study.
And I was like, are you serious? Like last day is tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. So even if you go in and take it and you fail, you'll have 6 months to retake it. But if you don't go in tomorrow, you have to like retake your class. You have to
Oh,
everything
You were
over
like,
again.
all right, well, fuck it.
I was like,
yeah, here we go.
I'll see you soon. I had no printer. And she was like, you need to print your affidavit and all this stuff. So I like drove all the way there, ran through the door. So I was like, with a pen and paper, I was like, here you go. And it was super stressful, but they were super nice. And the first meeting and then every other meeting afterwards really sucks. So if you're a realtor, you would agree. But yeah, man, long story short, I got my license. I hit up Tony. I was like, hey, I've got my license. Are you guys still looking for people on your team? And he was like, nope.
Oh.
So I was
That's
like,
not at all how I thought that was going to go.
I was like, word. Okay. And he was like, yeah, man, sorry that the spot's been filled, but why don't I introduce you to my broker?
Okay.
And he was like, he taught me everything I know. So he introduced me to the broker. I really liked it. And ever since, I've been just trying to grind it out. And now I'd consider him pretty close to a mentor.
Tony?
No,
Or
my
your
broker. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So he's just any questions that I have, he takes the time to answer it, and it's really hard to find in a brokerage. So I'm very lucky to have that.
So like fast forward to now, like you said, you're working for a broker at Remax, right?
Yep.
So like when you originally, I feel like a while ago, I think you were looking to like leave to move to find another place, just like to move out
Yep.
basically from where you're living now.
Yep.
And you were like, oh, because I'm self-employed, there's like a 2-year thing where you have to be self-employed for over 2. Did that like eliminate that? Like, does this now you can like qualify for I think it was for a loan, right?
Restarts it.
Oh shit!
the
This
whole
doesn't
Starts
count.
it?
But if
It
you
doesn't count.
so this doesn't count as like an employment status. It's like a
Nope. Because
What?
I'm a general contractor,
okay,
I'd say.
dude. What? So how does like do you
Wow.
I
just
don't
get
have a
fucked
W-2.
if you want loans? Like you just get screwed if you're doing contracting. Like
So if you start a business and you go right into it, obviously they need proof of income.
Yeah.
They need proof of what you make for at least 2 years. So when I started my Paradigm Performance thing, I made no income right off the bat. So they're like, dude, I believe you, but it's not going to work out. And then as I got into real estate, I also realized I'm like, damn, I have to wait another 2 years to show them proof of income for real estate to even have that count towards a loan.
So
Wow.
even though, because you still do the Paradigm Performance.
Yes.
It completely eradicated the past whatever years you have been doing that for? Or?
No, it hasn't eradicated it. That still counts.
Okay.
But if I wanted my real estate income to count towards that,
Okay.
I'd have to wait
So
2
it's,
years.
it's like a separate thing, and you can't
Yeah.
include it in your income technically when you report it when you're doing.
No.
Okay, so that's like a sneaky thing if somebody out there is like doing contracting or is a self-employed contractor, I guess I should say.
Yeah,
like
basically.
you need 2 years of reported income history if you want to apply for a loan.
Yeah, and I do work for a brokerage,
Yeah.
but it's not. I would consider self-employed.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm doing all the work myself. They just give me the name, they give me the resources, they give me the platform that I can use.
yeah.
Mm.
So I guess when you become so you have access to MLS and all that
Yep.
stuff. So
what's MLS?
MLS is basically like the software, like the listing software, I
Yeah,
guess, that
yep.
like
Okay.
agents get to look at.
Yep.
That's like the stuff that like normies like us can't see on Zillow, pretty much.
It's like you could see the same exact stuff that we see on the MLS. We just see it first.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's like it's more of like it's like a Zillow, but for realtors specifically, right? Like not like because like you can't get access to
Yes.
it unless you're
In a way, yeah. It's how we would go in and look at whether or not a property is active and it's trustworthy. Every now and again you see a property on Zillow that's listed as active and it's
Yeah.
not active anymore.
yeah.
Oh, and so the MLS pretty much like takes that into
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah.
Also, dude,
And also it gives you all of the information like the deed, the tax card, like all of that stuff where you need to know all of that information. It has
Mhm.
all of that on the MLS. That
Dude.
doesn't have it on the Zillow.
And Zillow, like, it's so common now, which like drives me up a freaking wall when they just like people just post listings and every single like category of information, it's like contact blank, like pets,
Yeah.
contact blank, laundry, contact whatever, parking. I'm like, dude,
Yeah, like
none
list
of
it.
them answer their fucking emails anyways, too.
I
So
know.
it's like, what is the purpose of having this on the website? Wait, you know what I mean? It's like,
That's why you list with a realtor.
dude,
Yeah.
it really that drives me up a wall, dude. For every single bit of information, it's like this is a waste of time if the answer to this one question is no. So just list it on the site,
Exactly.
Right.
you know. But anyways, like so the past 6 months, right? Like, well, how long have you been officially kind of doing the real estate?
So I got licensed at the end of January.
Okay,
Yeah.
So like literally from the time you started until now, what is the biggest difference you've seen in like it's obvious to me because I'm looking for places now, but like that you've noticed in the real estate market,
What do you mean?
like with respect to like obviously housing prices are going up,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And the interest rates are going up.
Yep.
So like, I don't know how much exposure you have to like people, because like you're a brokerage. I'm sure you guys work with like builders and stuff, or
Yep.
like they know people that are building.
Mhm.
What's the deal with the supply of housing right now? Because it's supposedly really low, but like, does it look like it's coming back up?
Yes.
Slash, like, what does it look like? Like it's a very much a seller's market right now. When do you think that'll kind of shift back to like a more even buyer's market?
So that's a really good question.
Kind of loaded, but like just
It is a
your opinion.
loaded question, but it's also like the question that everybody is kind of wondering right
Yeah.
now. I feel as though that everybody is kind of sitting back and waiting for a crash to
Yeah.
happen, like 2008. They're waiting for it to like just happen all over again. And people
Yeah.
are looking at the stock market and they're like, oh yeah, this is going to happen. But
Right.
the stock market is not the real estate market.
Yeah.
And
true.
although interest rates are rising, equity in home values are still expected to go up,
Okay.
right? So everybody's kind of waiting for, now that the interest rates are going up, they think that the housing is going to go down, like the housing prices are going to go down and inventory is going to skyrocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of not what we're seeing happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So inventory is still staying low.
It's very, yeah.
It's very low. Basically, like if we're putting numbers on it, I don't want to say any specific numbers, but just theoretical numbers. For every 100 houses that are being listed, there are 200 people looking to buy them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in every month over month, we're seeing like nowadays we're starting to see a little bit longer listing times. So like now they're not sitting on the market for 5 days. They're sitting on it for 7 to 12 days.
That still seems so short.
Yeah, that is still super quick.
It's still incredibly hot. But different markets are different. So like New Hampshire is different than Massachusetts. Massachusetts, a house could sit up on the market for like 5 days still and sell for still tens of thousands of dollars over asking.
Wow.
But I don't see a crash coming. I do see, however, a correction coming.
Yeah.
Correction
as in, a crash is like what, 20%, like suddenly?
Like instead of like a super dramatic drop, maybe like an adjustment that reflects like sort of more in line. Like
don't see that anytime. I don't see that happening anytime soon unless all of a sudden people stop giving a shit about houses or all of a sudden the supply of houses just skyrockets.
Like there's just a ton of houses that are on the market or being built all at the same time.
And right now, houses that are being built are being sold before they're even fucking like the lines are drawn for them.
Right.
It's insane. So I don't think that we're going to see that sudden drop in price, but I do see, like maybe house prices will start to, not be so astronomical. Maybe not as many people will be throwing astronomical bids down onto them.
Right.
Maybe it'll sit on the market a little bit longer. But I don't see what people are waiting for. People are waiting for all of the house prices they'll wake up one day and all the house prices are on the floor and they're going to just go around and pick them up.
Yeah.
That's what they're waiting for. It's not.
And even though the interest rates are climbing, and I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, interest rates, this and that. And it's like, yeah, they're not 2% or 2.5% or 3%, which is unbelievable.
Right.
Like they're like
very lucky
5%,
to see that. Yeah.
which is like totally normal and actually still below what your parents probably got on their house.
Exactly.
And then before that, your grandparents were probably getting them 12, 14% interest on their loans.
Right.
So like it's still low. It's kind of like it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah,
like,
it's relatively low.
Yeah.
But when people look back on that multifamily that they literally were walking through in 2020, that they didn't buy, and now the equity is now $60,000 more than what they would have bought it for, they're kicking themselves in the ass.
Yeah. That's the thing is like that couple percentage is like $40,000, $60,000. And that's like money you have to pay in interest now.
Yep.
Or like you said, gets added to the value of your house. Like if you know, a lot of people refinanced and got rid of their PMI during that time.
And that's what we're seeing. And that's part of the reason why inventory is so low is because so many people refinance at like 2-3%. They don't want to sell.
Yeah.
And then have to like get another loan out, God forbid, at a higher interest rate. They don't want to do that, especially if they still owe money on the house.
So like with respect to like somebody looking into just an investment property, not something that they're trying to live into or like move into, I should say. Is that still like a viable, like you can maybe do like a state by state comparison or something, but it's like, is that still like are the returns still there? Right? Like,
yes, but you got to find them.
Yeah.
And you could still live in it if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's true.
The thing is and while we're on this topic, FHA loans have gotten like this huge praise that it's like this awesome program. It's so easy to buy a house. It's like 3.5% down. It's so simple. You just pay this and then you get into the house. It's not always like that. You know what I mean? FHA is great and it makes getting into a first-time home affordable, but it's also very strict as far as the appraisal process goes.
Yeah.
And that pushes a lot of people back, especially in these older multifamilies, because the big investment thing is like buy crappier looking properties and then fix them up and build equity, right?
Right.
When you look at a lot of these older buildings, they were built back in like 1960, some of them back in 1920, and they got lead paint, they got flaking this, they got, roof problems. FHA goes into that and they're like, dude, No way.
Happening.
Yeah,
So
no
even
way.
actually, when we went to apply for, this is at the old house, when we went to apply for a CFHA, it's just like a specific one to Connecticut.
Yeah.
They're like, they have like their specific inspector that has to come by and look at the house, right?
Yeah.
Like they have a list of things that they need to check the house for specifically to that loan. They're like, yeah, like you said, like they're very strict, and they have their own multiple guys come in and like look the thing up and down and appraise it, right? Like they appraise it, and the guy, like they have their special, like their own guy, like, yep, this guy does the FHA one.
Exactly. So that process there makes it kind of unattractive to potential sellers when they're getting conventional and cash offers. Like,
yeah, it's like a headache they don't have to deal with.
Exactly. They're like, dude, this other guy is paying me $20,000 more in cash, and we can close in like a month at that point, you know, rather than your lengthy appraisal process, very strict appraisal process where the deal could fall through.
Yeah.
And in that time where they take the chance to take your loan or take your offer, they're missing out on every other offer that comes in because they already went under contract with you. So yes, I believe that you can still get into a house and an investment property with an FHA loan and live in the property. You just got to be smart, and you got to run the numbers. You got to make sure that the deal is at least worth it for you. But when you got people like right now in a seller's market, sellers got God complexes, dude.
Yeah.
Like you got a 3-family home in the middle of Manchester. They want like almost damn near $1 million for it. I've had people literally say, I'm not going to sell it unless I get $1 million for it.
What?
And in that case, if you're an investor, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
You know, you have to buy in a position where you can improve upon the property. So if you can find that with an FHA loan where you can live in the property, that's the biggest thing with FHA. Because if you don't live in the property with an FHA, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, you can't technically take
You
the
can't
loan,
technically
right?
do that. Yeah. You have to owner occupy for at least a year, at least in the state of New Hampshire.
Okay.
Don't quote me on any other state. I don't work there.
Okay.
I think it's 2 in some states, right?
Yeah, so 2 in some states. But you can combat that by offering a little bit more money down.
So like I got a couple questions, but the first one, like, you know, the whole like ideal kind of like 7 to 12% return range for investment properties. Like, what is it? Is there like a baseline like average that like right now for like returns? Like, what do you think like returns on most properties? Are they looking closer to like 5%?
Dude, you talk to any investor, they're going to tell you can find any type of deal in any market if you work the numbers out right and you look hard enough.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Right? Like, no matter what, I don't think that you should like settle for a low ass percentage in your investment.
Yeah.
Just to say that you made an investment in real estate.
Yeah.
I say look for a deal that works, that makes you the percentage that you're looking for, which on average is anywhere from 8 to 12%. In a perfect world, 12%. Anything more than that is like, you know,
amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, like, dude,
yes.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say to that. You know, if you find a multifamily property and you love it and you walk through and it's the best thing ever and it checks all the boxes, but you do the numbers and it just doesn't work out, even with market rents and even after market value or after repair value, if you're still bringing in less than like 8%, don't settle.
Yeah.
Just look for something else or offer something that works for you.
And there is like, I feel like there's no like perfect time, right? Like there's always something like, and so like if you keep kind of waiting, it's like, well, like if you can still make a smart choice, and like it's better to just get a process going, than like drag ass on it, and then it's like, oh, I waited 2 years and I'm getting into the same deal.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude, if you like, because a lot of people run into the same thing of analysis by paralysis, or what is it, paralysis by analysis? It's the other way around. Where they go in and they're like, okay, so I need to have like all of my ducks in a row. I need to know who I'm using as a property manager, who I'm using as a contractor, where I'm going to get my drywall. Like they think about all of this stuff before they even get into the property and run the numbers.
It's like they're overthinking like the initial section of it without even like just running the basics.
Exactly.
Stuff.
And like they're wasting all this time.
Like big rocks first kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you run this is what I think. If you run the numbers, I don't care if the fucking roof is falling off. I don't care, or I guess not falling off, but sinking in.
Yeah.
I don't care if there's like water in the basement, but if the numbers fucking work after I've done all of the math that I need to do, if the numbers work, it's worth it. Okay, if the numbers
stuff
don't
can be repaired,
exactly. If the numbers don't work,
you put it into the calculation is just like an estimated amount just to fix a place up, right? You
Yeah.
can make it high too.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And if you have enough capital, you can make a lot of things work. But if you're getting into this for the first time and you're like waiting for the perfect deal, it's never going to come. You know, you'll be looking for the rest of your life for this perfect deal. And then once you fucking find it, someone's going to put in a cash offer and make you cry.
I was gonna say,
I've been there, dog.
So what do you say to like people that are kind of like, you know, oh, I want to get into, like, I want to get a place, but I feel like in a few years the value is going to drop and I'm going to like lose a bunch of money, right? Because I'm still going to owe a bunch on a loan, but my house value will go down or something like that, you know?
Well, it's like, I bet people said that in the middle of 2008. That same house today is worth, I don't know how much more in equity. You know what I mean?
Just keep holding.
A ton more of equity. So it's like, dude, hold until you can't hold no more. That's what and that's just me. You know, other people will say like flips are like where it's at. You know what I mean?
Right,
but I think in a position like that where they buy a home and they have a loan for like 30 years. Yes, they bought at the top of the market. There is a chance that the market will start to dip down. But if you look at it like that, you'll never make any money. You'll never buy a house.
Yeah.
And I guess
you're
if you're
scared to make a move.
Exactly. Like I could buy a house tomorrow and it could, you know, depreciate $10,000 in the first month of me buying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've made worse decision with crypto, so it's like not even really.
If I hold it until I'm 50, 60, 70 years old, I'm not going to care.
Yeah, it's like an essential commodity, so it's always going to at least be valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
People always need homes.
Exactly. And in the way that the market is going right now, I do think that there's more equity to be built. You know, if you bought in the beginning of 2020 or 2019, the amount of equity that you built already is astronomical. So you already missed that train, but you can still cash in on the rest of the up and up that we're going to see, I think.
And I'm more in the camp of like wanting to do like rentals just because like I like just having a constant influx of money.
Yep.
But I can see why if you bought a house in 2019 or 2018 or 2020, like why you'd want to flip. Like if I was a person who purchased a house in 2019 or 2020, like for sure I would sell it right now.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it depends how much, what kind of property is and like if it's actually making me a decent amount of rent. But like, dude, those guys are making like $500,000 off of a house in the course of a year.
Yeah.
I'm for sure flipping that, and then I'm going to buy something like more, like 2 properties. You know what I mean? Like
exactly, especially when you buy like a distressed property, like we mentioned earlier, and you add that equity by doing something to the property. But dude, I've literally seen deals go through my office where someone has bought in a property in the beginning of 2019, and they're selling it now. Just because they got literally $250,000 of equity.
Dude,
Holy
and I know
crap.
so many people that like even like a guy at work, he's like, yeah, I've owned this apartment in downtown Westerly. He's like, I bought it in like early 2000 and he just sold it like last year or like this year. And I'm like, dude, you probably like 10x'd on that the cost of that house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
And went back when they bought the house. Did you think that they were going to run into this type of market?
Oh yeah, definitely not. I mean, you never know.
You never know. Nobody's got a crystal ball. So no matter what you ask me about the market, I don't have any type of crystal ball. I have a good idea of where it's kind of at right now and where it's going in the next year or so. But, you know, the market could freaking, who knows, dude? Yeah. Everybody could up and just decide that, you know, I'm not going to buy that much. I'm not going to pay that much for a house. And everybody stops buying a house for whatever reason. Elon Musk can freaking tweet about something negative about houses, and then house
house is down, dude. So actually, that leads me to my next question. Because you were saying like, oh, if you buy like a shitty house and then like you build equity by like doing stuff to it. Mm-hmm. It's like what kind of additions or mods to a house actually give value to the house as opposed to like, because like, you know, you finish, because like I know people, they're like, oh man, I really want to like repaint my walls or like refinish my bathroom or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, cool and it's like a nice thing and it makes the house way nicer, or maybe you put hardwood floors, but then you're like, oh, but the value of my house is the same. It's not going to help me sell it. It's just going to be more comfortable for me to live in right now.
Well, the comfortable factor is a thing that people want, right? So if like you got a jank bathroom and you try to sell your house, it's going to be tough to sell if you got a jank bathroom. People are going to walk into the bathroom. They're going to be like, okay, well, I gotta do this now.
Moldy ceilings, you know. Clawfoot tub, you know.
But like, dude,
exactly. So they go in, they walk into the bathroom and they're like, okay, well, I gotta like literally gut the whole bathroom now because there's mold on the ceiling and there's a clawfoot tub that's made out of cast irons. I gotta cut this out if I can take it out.
Who knows how the frick we're gonna get it out of this room in general? How did it even get in there?
So they would pay more just to avoid that scenario. Right. So answering your question.
And I agree, like bathrooms, kitchens, like those are things you frequent, and like
bathrooms, kitchens, most importantly, additions of like extra bedrooms.
Okay.
Like when we're thinking about buying multifamilies, right? We get rent based off of how many bedrooms the apartment has, right? More bedrooms is more, they want that.
Yeah.
Less bedrooms, not everybody wants that. Maybe like a college student, maybe like you guys.
Yeah.
But people who have families or kids, they need more bedrooms. Yeah. So they're willing to pay extra for them. So if you have a 3-family unit or a 3-family building and you add with 2-bedroom units in each unit, right? Or 2 bedrooms in each unit.
Yep.
You add a 3rd bedroom to each of those units, you can increase the equity of the house by at least like $50,000.
Wow.
And that's just throwing a number off the top of my head, but it could be that way, right? You add a different bedroom, that's instantly bringing you more rent. And let's just take that comparison for what rents are going for in Manchester, New Hampshire, right? A 2-bedroom in the middle of Manchester could go from anywhere from $1,600 to like $1,800, $1,900.
Okay.
A 3-bedroom could go from anywhere from like $2,000 to $2,600.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's really, really nice on the inside.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well,
updated.
All I'm thinking about is like back in college, like the quote bedrooms that these motherfuckers would try and like peel into, like not actually, like Will's room in our grad school year.
Like, did Will's room even have a window?
Yes, it did. It had the tiniest little window, remember?
And I think that's how they get away with it, because you need a window in a bedroom.
You need that in a closet.
Yeah.
Dude,
it was such bullshit.
He got so screwed. He was literally living in like Harry Potter's room. It was awful.
And some people get away with that. Yeah. But if you like do the work and you add another bedroom and it's nice.
Yeah, another legit bedroom.
People would flock to that and they would pay it. So adding another bedroom, adding another bathroom, another huge thing.
It's true, because you're looking for listings. It's like X beds, X baths. Exactly. It's like the first thing you see.
Exactly. And sometimes even like in our case, right? Like even if like this is definitely the master bedroom, but we're not even using it as the master bedroom. We're in the 2 smaller rooms and we're using this as the studio.
Right.
So that's how. Like,
what is that room down the hall there? Is that another bedroom?
It's like a nursing room, technically.
It's like an office thing.
Yeah, I think like back when the house was first built, it was designed to be a nursery.
Got it.
But
when people are shopping for homes, usually like people will look at the square footage, how many bathrooms it has, how many bedrooms it has. If it doesn't fit what they're looking for, they will move on. Doesn't matter what the property looks like on the inside. They don't care because that's not what they need. They're looking for something specific. But redoing bathrooms, if you got a jank bathroom, you redo the bathrooms, put a new nice tub in it, repaint the walls, put a vent in it.
Vent.
Make it a lot more luxury almost, because where do you spend the most time? The kitchen, your bedrooms, and the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the kitchen. I wouldn't say like go all out and get super luxury appliances for any of this. The bathroom, like cheap stuff, right?
Yeah.
But you get something that works well. It looks nice, like stainless steel. That's all stuff that increases the value of the home. Yeah. If you have, like, I've seen rugs in the kitchen. Rugs in the kitchen. You take out the rug and you put nice linoleum floors
That's
in there.
disgusting. What do you mean? Like
Rugs?
like carpet?
Carpet
in the
shag
kitchen?
rug in the kitchen.
Dude.
The whole entire
Oh
the
my
whole
God.
floor.
That's
so you rip
gross.
that out and you put linoleum flooring that is, it's resistant to scuffs, water,
Yeah.
it looks really good. You repaint the walls from the dingy old wallpaper that was up and you put, fresh paint up. People see that.
Give
and
them a
that
landlord special.
they'll exactly.
Paint over the freaking.
They'll spend more
switch.
money for that type of thing, so they don't have to do it. But as investors, that's where we make the money.
Right.
We are the people who are willing to take that property, add the extra bedroom, add the other stuff to make it a more livable space for people.
So what about what about house additions or like a, you know what I mean? Like a sunroom or something. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that doesn't have, because they're so expensive. I can't imagine the return is there.
So there are some additions that people do that think they think that it's going to add a ton of value to the home. Like just because they spent the money on it,
Mhm.
right? Like home movie theaters, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
It's a very small section of people that care, but
I would
most
rather
people
have
don't want it.
Exactly. If it's taken up most of my basement, I would rather not have it. I have a TV upstairs.
Yeah, it's not.
And that's
It's
just
not
me.
practical for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's like a very small group of people that actually really
Exactly.
love home theater.
Like I feel like home
Exactly.
gyms too, right? And even with the sunroom, like
Exactly.
that's like, okay, well, what if you don't even like using them? It's like, well, I'm not paying for this extension on the house you
Right.
guys decided to add.
And some people, if they wanted it, they could work it into the deal.
Right.
But, like adding a home gym and then expecting all of that equity to be built onto your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the case.
It's not the case unless you gave all of your stuff away. And even then, they probably don't even freaking want it.
Yeah.
It's all your stuff.
Yeah.
Sunrooms is another one. Adding a hot tub is another one.
Oh, yeah. And those are sneaky expensive hot tubs.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are really
A
expensive.
few $1,000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you get like the whole like setup and like little patio area and
Yeah,
like,
dude, that's
because
like
it's
$10,000-$15,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's never just the hot tub, you know,
Right.
and the hot tub, just getting the unit itself is already so expensive, but then
Right.
you're going to dress it up and it's going to look all nice.
And that's why people want to get paid back for it. Because they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to just sell it with the house and I'll just get paid back I'll get paid in full for my hot tub that I bought whenever ago.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like if you find somebody that wants to buy your house, you're not going to pass up on their offer because they're not going to pay an extra $10K for your
Yeah, for the
fucking
hot tub.
Yeah.
So other things that would add value. Some people would argue against this, but I would argue against that. I think that adding a garage definitely adds value to the property. Some people would
yeah.
say against that.
I could
totally see that.
I could see why somebody would like argue against it.
It's not
But-
livable space.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like a necessity. Like it's
Right.
not like what like the big three you're looking for.
Exactly.
When you're looking, but like it's like generic enough, right? It's not like a movie theater, which is like very specific to somebody
Right.
who likes to sit into a movie theater in their house.
Right.
We
Like
all
a
got
garage,
cars.
everybody uses. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's got a
everyone's
car.
And we
for the
need
most part.
storage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Freaking,
yeah.
I've never once had a garage. Never needed a garage. Do I want a garage? Fucking right, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would I pay extra for a garage? Yes.
Dude, imagine like a nice 2-car garage in
Yeah.
the wintertime, you know, store
Exactly.
your cars from the snow.
And you got
and
your
the
put stuff
snow
in the attic
blower
of the
and
garage.
stuff.
Yeah,
You
dude.
clear out your whole driveway right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So that is something that I think would definitely add value. An in-ground pool most likely would add value.
Mm.
Things like landscaping, I don't think would add value.
Yeah, that's also that's kind of like a taste thing, and that's why it's tough. Well, that's why it's tough. I feel like with in-ground pools is because like if you have like a weirdly designed one, like
Right.
to me that's like
Ugly.
I don't want that. Then you have to
Exactly.
pay to remove it, which is like twice as expensive as like getting a pool. So
And some people just want a big yard.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know?
dude.
Yeah.
Imagine it's the most perfect house ever. And it checks all of the boxes, but it has like a gross dated like 1980s pool in
Yeah.
the back. I'd be
Yeah.
like, dude, this is great and all, but like how much is it to take care of this pool?
The
or, like,
maintenance
redo
is
the pool?
absurd. It's
Yeah.
like very you got to regularly like.
After living with Bree, bro, I am never getting a pool.
Oh, they have one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And it's like the forbidden Gatorade. It's so green. It's just sitting in there, uncovered now. So
that's why you
like,
get friends with pools. You know, like that. To me, that's always been like I've always like known somebody that has one. And it's like It like I'd rather have grass. Like I'd rather have just like nice, just like grass space. I can take care of the lawn, landscape on my own. But I totally get, unless you're like, because a lot of that stuff gets dated and tagged. Like for example, I was in California just like looking at houses with my sister, and like we're in the backyard, and I'm looking at the pool, and like first of all, there's barely any land in California with the houses, anyways. You know what I mean? Like so, it had a decent sized yard. Here it was like smaller than our yard, you know what I mean? Or maybe about the size of our yard, and then California that's massive.
That's huge. Yeah.
It wasn't that deep, but it was about as wide if you include the garage section,
and probably like twice as expensive.
Dude, yeah, I mean it was like fucking $2 million or something, over $2 million.
Yeah.
Which by the way, like 3 months or five or 6 months earlier, it was like 1.6, and now it's like 2.4, and for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the pool that they had was like this like weird like oval shaped like bendy kind of pool. And then like they had these massive rocks all along the edge, like kind of like jungly looking, but they were fake rocks and they were freaking gigantic. Like they were like boulders. And I was like, this is so ugly. Like you can't, the rocks, it was like an aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
And the rocks take up all the seatable, like the seating area around the pool. Then there's like a fire pit right next to the pool. I'm like, you can't even sit next to it though, because it's like in the pool, but it's not.
And
it was
there's
like
just rocks everywhere,
dude. And it was like if they bought the house, they would have to basically remove it all.
Exactly.
And it's such a pain in the ass.
But one person maybe would go through it and be like, wow.
Yeah,
That's
if
amazing.
you wanted
This
to
is
shoot like a
perfect.
70s style porn in the backyard, that's like what this shoot looked like. It was like that. Those things, I'm like, man, that's such a hard style choice, and it makes me think because like that stuff. It's like if you go so hard with the style choice, it gets tacky and it's hard to resell.
Yeah.
But like if it's just like a standard like basic pool, and there's no crazy bullshit around it, I feel like it's easier to sell because then the person can dress it up themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But when you add the big rocks and everything, and then you expect whoever buys the house to love it as much as you do, and then pay for the extra, like the cool pool and the cool thing around it, that's when you start to like, you're asking for a little bit much.
Yeah. Well, I like just remember house shopping with my uncle years ago, and he found this awesome, awesome place, and he absolutely loved it. And he's like, but it has a pool.
Oh.
And I love pools, but I don't know if I love taking care of a pool.
You also need insurance if you have a pool. Like you need special insurance, right? Because like kids drown in pools all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
do you actually need special insurance?
I'm pretty sure. Because
end of the day, dude, fuck pools.
It's a like a liability because like people can drown in it. Now you have a thing in your backyard somebody could drown in.
Oh, what
like, and I'm pretty sure you need like pool insurance.
And nobody wants to have a gate around their pool.
Yeah,
unless you're in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Because whatever gators or whatever. But like, okay, so what's like the number one thing you see people that are like super excited about? Like, oh, I'm gonna add this to my house, and then it's like the worst investment you could do.
Oh, dude. Probably like a pool and hot tub scenario, bro.
Yeah,
honestly,
I could see it.
Or a home theater, something like that.
Yeah,
like
where they're like thinking like, oh, it costs $50,000 to do, so my house is now $50,000 or more expensive.
And especially like if it's a really nice home theater, I get it, right?
Yeah,
like fancy chairs, you made the woodwork so it like stacks up on each other so you don't have to like look over everybody. But if you just got like a projector and a big ass screen in your basement, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
And like I feel like
they're just looking to clear it out.
The people who like try to cram it into a spot that like obviously shouldn't have. Like it's different if you have the space and the house is already like a multi-million-dollar house and it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
So like you don't care about that space. Like
But if it's a livable area, like a normal house, like if this place had a movie theater, I'd be like, what the fuck? This is the weirdest place ever.
Yeah.
But like you said, if it's a multi-million-dollar property, it's like super luxury and they got a bowling alley next to it. I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. I'd pay an extra like $20,000 to have a movie theater down in the basement. Sure. If I've got this much money.
Yeah.
But not everybody does. So it's not the smartest investment for a normal everyday Joe Schmo to just be like, all right, yeah, dude, I'm going to put a full on movie theater down in my basement.
Yeah, I guess like that's a kind of a good way to look at it. Like if it's at the cost of livable space, it's not worth it. But if it isn't, then maybe sure. But
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm actually kind of curious. Is there like when you're redoing flooring, is there like wood is better than tile versus marble? Like I know my mom
Depends
has
on
like
the area.
okay, because I know my mom went like really hard in like this one section of her house when she was building it. She went all like marbled tile in both like the hallway area and then the
Heavily trafficked.
yeah.
So
yeah.
tile is incredibly durable.
Yeah.
Right. Hardwood would scuff up
Right.
very easily in heavily trafficked areas. Like
Right.
good example is your front foyer, right?
Yeah.
You ever
right.
look at the floor going into the kitchen or
Yeah.
the dining
Yeah.
room?
Yeah.
You guys walk through there all the time, right?
Yeah, you can literally see it.
You can see it on the ground.
Yeah.
So when people are building, they'll put tile in heavily trafficked areas.
Oh wow, that makes so much sense because that's literally like right at the entrance of my mom's house. It's all tile.
Yeah, so like where people walk a lot, where people have like maybe wet shoes and they don't want like water damage or anything, that's where you would put tile. So a kitchen,
Not
obviously
really.
you would want tile on the on the floor.
Oh, okay.
In the bathroom,
Yep.
right? You would want tile. In the kitchen, because you could drop pans, you can, spill a whole pot of water and everything. You don't want everything to get fucked up. With hardwood, the water can maybe seep underneath and then get under to the subflooring, and it causes a lot of problems.
Issue. Interesting.
A good happy medium, like we were talking about investing and things that you could do to the property to make it, worth more.
Yeah.
You could put that type of flooring in those areas. Like if the kitchen has carpet in it, you could put a cheap tile down.
I still can't get over the carpet kitchen.
Is
that common? Is that a thing?
It wasn't. I saw it very recently.
What if you cook and you drop something and then it's like, okay, what you got?
There was a lot of stains.
You know how many
There's
times
a lot of stains.
You know how many times we spilled shit in the kitchen
all the time.
So
that's like you're cooking and like you're just like oops, and then you clean it up afterwards.
Yeah,
but you can't really do that with a carpet.
Another thing that I see people do a lot is linoleum. Flooring, that like it looks like wood, but it has like the texture and everything of wood, but it's not.
Yeah,
that's very durable. It's scuff resistant. Sometimes you can get water resistant types. That's very durable for when you're looking to do rentals, or if you're trying to do a very large, heavily traffic area without having to like sand the floors every few years.
So do you think, I was going to ask, like, do you think, because it's obviously super nice to have like natural hardwood flooring,
of course,
like big thick ass pieces.
Yep.
Like I always found it's like just so
They're
comforting.
awesome. Yeah.
But like, do you think that because I know it's expensive, right? Like compared to linoleum, obviously, like.
Well, it depends on if it's already there, it's more expensive to buy more linoleum.
If you're putting the flooring in, and you're like, all right.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like,
it's so much more expensive for hardwood.
Do you think it's worth it to put it in? Or is that kind of like a luxury item, like if you really want to spend the money?
Not in a rental. If someone wanted to increase the value of their home, their single family home that they've been living in, and they wanted to put nice hardwood floors throughout, that would definitely increase the appeal of the property.
Yeah.
Definitely increase the value.
But you can't charge more rent for that kind of thing.
No. And on top of that, I wouldn't even put the hardwood in there because it's not my floor.
Yeah.
I know that this is beautiful, nice hardwood that I paid a lot of money for.
Somebody else is going to treat. Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're bad people. They just don't know. They didn't buy the floor. They're not going to treat it as good as I am. So if I were to buy hardwood floors for a property, it would be for my own property because I love hardwood floors.
Yeah, I agree. I love, dude.
Isn't it crazy that at one point in time, people were covering hardwood?
Dude, you should see the amount of
we're doing it
multifamilies
now
I go
for a
into.
reason, though.
Yeah.
Well, this is for
so you walk into a place like this, same thing, right? You rip up carpet that's been in there for like 25 years.
Yeah.
Brand like hardwood floors that look like this.
Dude, it blows my mind.
You rip that up in a rental, you have a little bit of a freak out because it's very rare to see that type of thing, or actually more common now because people are ripping up the carpet. But I would still put linoleum over it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Just to protect it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on top of that, I don't have to sand it and refinish it. I'm just ripping up the carpet, putting linoleum over it. So I'm still preserving the beauty of the wood.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so if you wanted to like flip it or something at some point in the future,
Yeah.
like, could you just rip the linoleum off, sand it, and it's like, hey, check it out, I got hardwood
I would
floors.
I would let whoever bought it from me in the future be like, hey, just so you know, hardwood floors under there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rip up the linoleum because if it's still good, I'd be like, dude,
Yeah,
it's great.
especially if they're gonna rent it afterwards.
Yeah,
And, like,
great
maybe they wanna
product,
keep it.
like leave it. But I'm like, dude, if you wanted to, hardwood floors under there.
Yeah.
But that is that's definitely something that I would say is a good way to build up equity for someone who owns a single family home, not for someone who owns a multi-family home. Just because tenants usually don't care about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But you throw some nice linoleum in there when you ripped up the old crappy carpets or in the old like chipped up tile, they'll be happy.
Right.
They like it.
Right.
Yep.
Like in tenants like new bathrooms.
Yeah, of course.
Like that's definitely.
I mean, you walk into a place that you want to buy and own. You want the place to look good. You want the place to look clean. You know, so and that's why like a lot of people give investors a really hard time. Like real estate investors, they think that we are the reason that so many people are homeless, and like because the rents are so
high.
Yeah. But if you are in it for the right reasons and you go in and you're spending your money to provide better housing to the people who actually need it, you're taking a very distressed and ugly property that someone was paying like pennies for, not pennies, but low amount of money for, maybe even higher amounts of money now for, you know, a subpar property. You're taking that same property and you're just making it more livable.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing that should be done, but not a lot of people want to take the risk on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My dad has recently been like, oh, you know, I do electrical work for this guy and he keeps telling me to like, I need to get into real estate. And I'm so scared to do it. I'm like, Dad, do it. Like, I know you have the money. Like, I know.
Dude, he's also an electrician. Like if something happens, like it's a huge service that he can fulfill himself.
And he can do way more than just the electrical stuff. He really is like an all talent handyman. It's just like his trade is electrical.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's true. I mean, he builds shit all the time.
Man.
Yeah, maybe I should hook him up with you, dude. Get him in New Hampshire property. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to just sit down with him and have some coffee and just like talk to him about what he needs to do.
Because he vacations to New Hampshire all the time.
Oh, does he?
Every year.
Yeah.
Every year he goes up to New Hampshire.
Where?
With his wife.
Sunapee? Does he like hike or like ski?
It's more like hiking.
Got it. Cool. So,
yeah.
Far north.
Yeah, it's more far north stuff. Like they go to like this lake area and stuff like that. But
dude, he finds an Airbnb up there.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
I was
killing,
like,
bro.
You know, I just convinced him. He's been going through his whole life without a business credit card. Okay, and this guy buys tens of thousands of dollars worth of electrical shit for houses that he doesn't even use his own money for.
I was gonna say like there's also like probably 5% back on all of those, so you could.
And then he's got to keep track of it all.
I've been telling my dad, get a business credit card, and just put all of materials on that card.
Yeah.
If anything, just the materials, because you immediately get paid for that anyway.
Yeah.
And he's already made like, I think $1,600 within just like a month or two.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Just because of just like using that. And so now I'm hoping I can like push him in the direction of like
making investments.
Yeah.
And stuff like
because he has the money. He's like a nice guy. He's very like likable and personable. And so he would make a good like landlord type of figure.
Is he retired now?
No, he works.
How old is he?
He is, let me see, 64.
Oh, okay.
1964 is when he was born. Sorry, that was misleading.
Got it.
So what does that make him? 50? Shit, is he 58 now?
Damn.
58.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
Shit, the big 6-0 is coming up.
Same.
Yeah, he's turning 58 this year.
Well, I mean, so I make a lot of cold calls, right? And when I do that, I meet a lot of investors, and I love talking to them. And one of the ladies that I spoke with most recently, she owns, was I talking to you about this?
I think so.
She owns like over 50 condos.
Yeah.
And she started investing when she retired.
Yeah, you were telling me she's old, right? Like she's pretty old.
She's
like,
on the older side. I think she said she was like mid 70s.
Okay.
At that point. So I called her. Of course, she loved to she loved that I called her and wanted to talk. And
Right.
I asked her questions about real estate. She loved that.
Yeah,
so
she probably can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
With you,
So
you know?
she gone off she gone off on it. And she started off just one condo, fixed it up a little bit, got a tenant in there, and she started making some money. And then all of a sudden she was like, okay, I'll buy another condo. She said she kept on just saying that until she owned like 50 condos. But they were all just like, the deals were working out. You know, she ran the numbers, the deals were working, they were at decent prices, and she was renting them out. And now she was just telling me how she just bought her dream car. She's traveling the world next year, you know, just going off, doing what she wants to do at that point. And so many people are like, oh, I got to start investing now in my, you know, I've got friends right now who are like 18 and they're like, I got to start investing now. And I was like, well,
freaking out.
I'm like, you're right. You should.
Yeah.
But she started when she thought she was done.
Right.
You know?
Like when she was like the retired phase, the like, this is my like smooth sail, like just like,
she got bored.
Yeah.
She did it for 3 years. She said she got bored.
Yeah.
And then she just started looking at real estate. She went to some conferences, went to some networking events and stuff, and eventually just pulled trigger. And she's like, it was the best decision I ever made. And I can't believe I didn't make it until I was retired.
Yeah.
So you think about that, and now she's only, you know, that was only like 20 years ago at that point when she retired.
Wow.
20 years has passed. So like, yeah, she retired, but she still lived an extra 20 years to help that grow. And now she's enjoying that.
Yeah.
And now she can retire. Like now she's like, oh yeah, dude, I don't have to do anything if I don't want to.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good spot to be in.
Throughout the whole
fucking fantastic spot to be in.
Throughout the whole time, for 20 years, I think she said she was a greeter at Walmart.
What the
Just like investing in real estate like a badass now. I was like, you are the best. And I'm sure so many people passed her not thinking anything.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But like in reality, she was sitting on a lot of real estate.
That's crazy.
And that is cool. And now all of those condos are worth $200,000-$300,000.
That's crazy.
You know, just for a condo.
Yeah,
dude.
Insane.
It's crazy.
I mean, like, it's definitely a good long-term move. I mean, my uncle has like 120 units or something that he just built up over forever, and he built a solar farm next to these like 90 apartment units.
Yeah.
And so like the whole thing is just powered by these solar panels, and then he sells the extra energy to the town. And like, so it's just like, it's like all self-sufficient. He just like chills.
And it seems like the most daunting task when you're thinking about it in the beginning of it. But I think once people start getting into it and people make the move, they start to realize it's not as scary as most people make it out to be. Like you say, it's like some people's parents are still like, oh, I bought a house back in 1999 for $20 and a pack of iced tea.
Yeah, exactly. Kids are like, I'm paying $40,000 a month to live with 9 people and 6 cats.
Yeah, seriously.
In a fucking broom shack.
But they yell at you because you're paying $500,000, $500,000 for a house, right?
Right.
But in the meantime, the rents from that could allow you to live rent free. You're playing with the big numbers. There are risks to it. Obviously,
always.
There's always risks to it. Yeah. But if you play your cards right and you make smart decisions, you can make a very, very, very promising lifestyle for yourself. And I think more people should at least think about it. You know
I mean, like, I feel like too, it's like, oh no, you made a bad investment. Like, who cares?
Who cares?
Just make another one and just make a better decision.
I made
like
tons
people
of bad
make money on real estate all the time.
All the time.
I was gonna say, like, I'm probably a little easier when it's not like our money and like, you know, if like the investment goes like super south, like I don't know, like let's say like you put like $15,000 into a crypto and like now it's worth
but like
$5 or something. You know?
But like I don't feel that way at all because I've lost money doing it too. But you just keep doing it until you make money. That's how people do this. You don't just like hit on your first go.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And
you know what I mean?
Invest with money that you're willing to lose.
Yeah, like
that's why you got to trust in yourself when you're making the decision. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and people going into real estate, they're like, oh man, I don't want to be a landlord. Like, this sounds like a lot of work. And I've got friends right now. They bought a duplex a few years ago, and they're like, man, dude, I could not imagine life without someone else helping us out paying rent. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, obviously, like if you get good tenants, sometimes you can get shitty tenants. I know a lot of people that have had like legal troubles because like you literally have zero rights as a landlord when it comes to legal stuff. But that being said, you know, if you're scared about that, there's also just like Airbnb. You know what I mean? Like,
there's steps that you can take to control who comes into the property.
Yeah, like selecting your tenants. Yes. You know what I mean? Like,
and like people are like, oh yeah. What if I get bad tenants?
It's like, don't pick bad tenants.
Get bad tenants.
Do your research.
Yeah, put them through an application process. Let them know that there's a standard of living here. And when people understand that, they'll respect you and your property a lot more, and everybody's happy. And but people let like the big fear, like, and I compare it to this a lot. Like every single time you get into your car, you run the risk of an 18-wheeler hitting you head on.
Yeah.
Do you still drive everywhere?
Yeah.
Without a seatbelt?
Yeah, it's definitely in New Hampshire. They do that.
Yeah, all the time.
I just think like, like anybody who wants to be like serious about investing, like obviously with caution, but like you need to just be okay with the fact that you might lose some money because like everybody does.
Yeah.
No like person who is rich has gone their entire lives without losing money on an investment. You know what I mean? Like,
and you have to have the mindset to kind of accept that.
Yeah.
But once you have that mindset and you go in and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna, the numbers work for this property or whatever the investment is. The numbers work for this. I believe in this. I believe in my decision. I'm gonna go for it. If you lose money on that, fucking happens.
Yeah.
You had a bad call. We're human.
Yeah.
Right. But if you make a great decision and you move forward with it and you hit it and it goes great, you never would have had that if you kept on thinking like, man.
Yeah, or like what if?
Exactly.
So I actually am curious about like the difference of like choosing a property, and we should actually probably tie this off pretty soon. But if you want to have an Airbnb, time flies, right? It's crazy.
I know.
An Airbnb style property, what's different compared to just like buying like a multifamily that you're going to live in? You can't use an FHA for an Airbnb, I imagine.
So no, if you had to go FHA for financial reasons because you couldn't make anything more than a 3.5% down payment, and that varies wherever you live,
right?
You have to live in the property,
right?
Like otherwise, it's mortgage fraud. It's like if you said like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to live in there," and then didn't. Bad jail.
Basically, to jail.
Right to jail. So don't do that, please. But what was your question again?
It was mainly like if I want to get a place that's just Airbnb.
Yeah.
Is it just like essentially like just buying another house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, if you own a house already, you couldn't take out an FHA, right? Until you paid that loan off. But you could go conventional. So you can put out in a conventional loan, you can take out more money, put down a 20% down payment on the house. And then instead of renting out multiple units, you would be renting out that one spot for like a short-term lease, basically, from days to a week or a few weeks.
And right? I kind of like
rentals are month to month. They're like a monthly reoccurring thing. You could do a yearly lease. Right. But for an Airbnb, you're keeping those spots very small. And if you're in a nice location and you've got, you're in a place that people want to be in and the place looks really nice on the inside, then you can charge a lot.
Dude, the destination, like even like things in the mountains or whatever, like ski mountain area type things, dude, you can charge like some of them, dude, like tens of thousands of dollars for weekends.
Yeah.
And you make so much more money than like a yearly lease in like 3 months.
And so
but
because you're doing
capital.
Yes. Yeah. So because you're doing smaller terms on the lease, right? You could charge more.
Right.
Because people and on top of that, more people are going with other people too. So they split the cost.
Yeah.
So they get away with that a little bit. So you go in and like, have you guys ever heard of Meredith, New Hampshire?
No.
So it's a nice place, right? People don't know where it's kind of near Sunapee. You guys ever been to Sunapee?
Yeah, the mountain.
Yeah. So it's like in the town too. Also, nice lake over there. So right. Meredith is right around there. There's like docks and everything, good seafood and everything. There is a small red house, hardly even 1,000 square feet. That's kind of on the water. That's going for like $500 a night.
Yeah,
a night.
See, like,
and it's booked out for a year.
And like places like that, dude. Like if you're getting an Airbnb, like to me, that's where something like getting a hot tub is actually something that makes sense because like
exactly
somebody's going for just a weekend and maybe they're going skiing. You're like, sick. I want a hot tub.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, like look, this house has a pool. Like that's sick. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna spend another. Like it's worth the like couple $100 extra or whatever.
Exactly.
And like, because it's only for a few days, you don't have to live with it your whole life.
Yeah. And it's for that person who's going there, it's like a little vacation thing.
And
so it's like
you don't have to, you're not responsible for it. You don't have to like do the upkeep on it. You just get to enjoy it. And that's where something can add a little bit of value into your property. If you're buying an Airbnb specifically, like it's a little lake home on it and you put like a hot tub and a pool and shit, and like a movie theater in the basement, people would love that shit.
Yeah,
and you can charge a lot.
Pool table.
Exactly.
That's where like a garage would make less sense, and like all this other flashy shit that would not work with the regular house would make sense. I think because you're in it for like this is cool. This is something we don't have. Like this is like it's a vacation thing. Like we're going for a week.
Yeah. Like when people go to Florida, dude, every single Airbnb has a fucking pool and a hot tub.
Yeah,
every single one.
Yeah.
And people pay for it.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's why. You ever see, dude, it's like the same Snapchat on or Instagram story. Like it's the pool, the hot tub, and the covered thing over it.
Yeah.
It's like all the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
And people pay for that. And that's the one that they choose every single time.
And
so
like
funny.
The one thing is like, so that's where I would want to be like eventually at some point is like get into an Airbnb. But the thing is like, if I'm going to buy personally an Airbnb, like I would want to spend like over $1 million. Like it's going to be like a nice ass because then you don't charge
have to, dude.
A lot of money for it. Well, I guess it's location, right? That's the biggest driver.
Exactly.
Like I'm thinking like ski mountain / like you can go and look at the leaves in the fall type area, so you get multiple seasons out of it.
So dude, I wish I knew how much Bree's parents spent on that Airbnb that they built. I don't. But I know that they bought it for like sub 300,000, I think.
$300.
Holy shit.
So they bought it. I think
it looks amazing.
Don't quote me, bro.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They completely tore it down all the way to the dirt, repurposed most of the stuff and rebuilt it back up. Dude, you're right on a lake. You've got a deck. You've got windows throughout. That's not $1 million property.
Yeah.
But man, are they going to make so much money from that place because it's an all year round lake. People go ice fishing, people go skating, cross country skiing.
Yeah, dude.
And
that's
then
the thing.
in the
You get the
summertime,
multiple
it's like
seasons.
swimming and boating, and
kayak,
dude. And it's nice, and it's like you can charge so much for that shit, and like I'm sure it's gonna be booked like basically year round.
I would say, dude, in a perfect world, I wouldn't say choose. I'd say have both.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's good diversity.
Exactly. Diversify your portfolio. If you have all Airbnbs, sure, you'll make a ton of money, but it's not always guaranteed.
Yeah.
The place could burn down and now you're at I guess that can happen with anything, but but when you're going with rentals, it's more long term.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think that I would want to take care of 50 Airbnbs. To be honest,
true.
You know what I mean?
Having to deal with all that.
You could always hire a property manager, but like we're talking going there every week and redoing the beds and like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Compared to
it's more maintenance costs.
Exactly. It's a lot more maintenance cost. And when you go into a rental unit like a multifamily, you're not paying all of that stuff and like what you're paying for is like, you know, in case the roof fucking collapses, you're responsible for it. If the hot water tank has a problem, you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
But those problems are few and far between if you keep those things updated, right? You take care of them. So instead of an expense that comes every single week, small expenses that come every single week, we're talking about bigger expenses that come over time. So it depends on what you want. You know what I mean? Do you want Apple stock or do you want fucking Amazon stock?
Yeah.
Both are going to make you money,
like,
but one's going to, I don't know what's going to go first, but
yeah.
So like,
that's a different fucking conversation.
But I get what you're trying to say.
So like when you get like a property, like, and I guess I'll just like close it out with this, but like if you get like, if you're buying a rental property and then you buy it, it's like you own the place, right? And you're like, all right, I want to rent this out. How do you like start renting it out? Like, do I need to find a real estate agent to rent my property? Do I like, is there paper? Like, obviously there's paperwork, right? But like, I like now own this place. What do I have to do to let somebody live in it?
Well, first I would say, let them know your terms, right? Know who you want in your house, right? Because you're letting people live in your house. Think of it that way. Right. You may not see these people all the time, but you are letting them live in your house. You should set ground rules. Otherwise, people will take advantage of you. That's just how people are. Right. So if you don't set those ground rules right from the get-go, you sit them down, you're like, okay, and this is what, this is the term of the lease. These are the rules. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. This is what I don't want calls about. This is where I will accept calls. These are the times that you can call me. These are the times that you fucking can't call me. Those are all things that I would say very important to get right off the bat if you're looking for tenants. You don't need a real estate agent, but they can help. Just because they have contacts, right?
So like, how do you get the lease agreement though? Like, if you're like, all right,
you write it.
Oh, so you just write? Is there like templates and you just fill in the blanks?
Yeah, there's templates for it. But you set the terms of the lease, right? And then I would talk to a lawyer.
And it has to get notarized or something. Because like, I'm just thinking like, well, I can't just go find a tenant on Craigslist and be like, hey, bro, $500 a month, just give it to me. And
exactly. If you're doing it on your own, get a contract written up by like a lawyer. Okay. Because that will make sure you are the safest. Do you hear that?
It's probably just Tuck knocking over some shoes.
Oh, got it.
Tuck as in Andy's cat because he brought his cat over.
So, then on top of that, you could just basically go on Zillow and say.
So once you get a lawyer, once you got
everything settled, once you got all of your paperwork done, you know who you want in the house. You know your terms. You're comfortable with everything, right? Throw it up on Zillow or realtor.com or there's a bunch of other websites that you can use. And then filter through the applicants.
And so the first thing you do is like, all right, well, I got to find a lawyer to get me the contract.
Yes.
To set everything
because
up.
You want to keep yourself safe. Because at the end of the day, you're letting people, this is your investment, right? This is what makes you money. This is your livelihood. And it's also a piece of property. They should respect the property, right? So if you want people to respect that wish of you, you should have it in writing that everything that we do moving forward is in writing. So if for whatever reason, something goes south, we have it in writing that this is what we agreed upon. It sets the ground rule. For example, my old landlord sucked, right? Yeah. I was about to take them to court.
Oh, shit.
Whoa.
I was about to take them to court because I had the paperwork that said what it said, right? I'm not going to go too far deep into it.
Yeah.
But it was, it came down to the security deposit, right? Okay. So she was trying to withhold our security deposit. But in the lease agreement, it didn't say anything about minor living wear. So like she was keeping our security deposit because she spent like, I don't know, fucking 20 hours cleaning the apartment.
Who cares?
And
I was
cleaning?
like,
what do you mean? Like dust?
I was like, is this not your fucking house?
Yeah.
So
of course it needs to be clean. Somebody was just living in it.
She wanted to take like $900.
Whoa.
From us.
Are you fucking kidding?
Like the entire security deposit.
Because she had to clean?
Because she had to clean a little bit. So that, I was like, that's
dude,
not
and the
legal.
thing is like, I know you, like the cleaning she had to do.
Dude, we're talking about like
some vacuuming and some
like over your oven. You know how ovens have like those vents over them?
Yeah.
And the grates underneath have like the
grease. Greasy or something?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Okay. That was it?
She wiped that.
Okay, cool.
So, some dirt in like the Lazy Susan. You know, so
Jesus, dude.
all of this stuff, she tried to hold our
That's
security
called
deposit
just being
for.
a scumbag.
Yeah, that's called literally just being a scumbag.
Right. But if I didn't have that contract, if she never wrote that up and she failed to put in that she expected me to pay her to clean up afterwards,
It would have been a different story.
it would have been a different story.
Oh, wow.
But because she never put that in the contract, I'm like, you can't do that. And I was like, that's illegal. And I know many many landlords, and they were like, that is not, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So she was like, sorry, I'm keeping your money. I was like, I will see you in court.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
She gave me my money.
Yeah.
But
Rightfully
that's why
so.
you write the contract, right? Because if for whatever reason the relationship goes south, you have the piece of paper where you could refer to, like, listen, man, we talked about this. This is what you agreed on. You can't take me to court for it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, like,
Sorry.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's why it's a good, like, just a good suggestion to, like, just make sure you get a good lawyer when you're writing up the contract, and also that you go through, like, somebody that, like, has experience with it. Because, like, I wouldn't even have thought, like, oh, we got to be sure to put in a thing about when they leave, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't have thought to, like, because
they
just
did.
cleaned when we
They did, like, things, of course, like paint, and, like, if the rug was fucked up,
yeah.
or, like,
Right.
I messed up a fridge. You know what I mean? Like, if I opened up the door super fast and I dented the fridge.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Take that out of my security deposit. I
Yeah.
understand. But just minor cleaning, you didn't write that in the contract. I saw that. I was smart enough to see that. I threatened court and we got out of it. But if we never had that contract, never would have been.
Yeah.
So that is why that was the first thing that I said. And when you're thinking about renting to people, is set a clear understanding of what you want and what your needs are, what your rules are for when people come into the house. Because if you're expecting them to give you money, you have to also uphold your part of the deal. And if
Yeah.
you don't, they can catch you on that and they can take you to court. So it's really to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
You know what I
right.
mean? And then once you have all of that set, then looking for tenants makes sense, because then you can go through the tenants and you'll be like, okay, here's all of this. Are you okay with that? No, see you later.
Yeah,
like,
next
we'll go
person.
to the next person,
Yeah.
find whoever's okay with all of the terms, boom. And the next thing you know, dude, you got a tenant for like 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they
Yeah.
respect you, you respect them. It's a mutual agreement. They don't call you unless they really need it. And vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the worst. You don't, being a landlord is a job, right? You don't want to wake up at 2 a.m. every weekend because something is wrong with the toilet or the dishwasher or something.
Yeah.
So you could put that in the contract. You know what I mean?
Oh, like, don't call me at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it can wait for a few hours, call me first thing in the morning. But if you call me at 2:00, I'm not going to answer.
I feel like it's tough too, because, like, you want to be like, hey, like, this is my house. If anything goes wrong, let me know so I don't have, like, some water damage because you didn't tell me about something 2
And
years
that
ago.
happens so much.
Dude, but then also it's like, I feel like there's a flip side where you're like, hey, make sure you tell me if anything's wrong. And then there's people who every 5 minutes are like, oh, blah, 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 because they have, like,
Exactly.
literally a problem and they need to be talking to somebody 24/7.
You're,
Yeah.
you're right.
You know what I mean?
Some people hear that and they're like, okay, toilet freaking took 2 seconds longer to flush.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna call my landlord.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
don't care. The trash guy came over, he knocked over the bins. Don't care.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
file
Please.
that
Like,
under
it's like-
things that I don't care
It's like the
about.
same thing about those people that like frequent the hospital just because they want to go to the hospital.
Sure.
And don't actually have anything wrong with them. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they need to just, like, they want to just talk to people and be like,
It's just like a normal freaking
You know?
relationship, dude.
Yeah.
Like you make sure that the relationship with whoever you're renting to is good, right? In the contract, we make sure that we understand the terms of the relationship, and if anything goes wrong, we have that in the contract. It's like, you know, you guys don't sign contracts every time you make friends, right?
Yeah.
But if your friends do something specific to you, you're not gonna like your friend.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
But if you made that clear, like, dude, just so you know, I don't like when people fuck my girlfriend, bro. They would be like, I'm not fucking that guy's girlfriend. They wouldn't even think about it.
hey, it wasn't in the contract though.
Yeah,
So,
it
like,
was-
I just
Exactly.
maybe throw it in there next time.
So that's It's to keep everybody on good terms. You never want a bad relationship. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, I think we should call it quits here. So, because I think that was definitely a little over an hour. So
Sweet.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. And it actually kind of gets me, because as you noticed, you probably heard Adam talking a lot on this one. That's because I don't know a ton about this stuff, but I'm definitely really interested in it, and I want to get involved with it at some point. So, it's just, I'm glad I know you, because I'll definitely be coming your way for like questions and shit and
Sweet.
whatnot.
Yeah. And before we end it off, I just want to say that I think more people should do something about it, because this is information that is free on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a very, very, very comfortable lifestyle for yourself using your money wisely and investing in appreciating assets. So don't wait. If it works for you, go ahead and do it. Because you're going to be looking back on yourself like 10 years from now, asking yourself why you didn't. And because it's so readily available, and because all of this information is known so well by so many people, I'm shocked, like genuinely surprised. Not everybody does this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there was a way to rid yourself of paying for rent and other bills like that, which there is, it's called house hacking, multifamily investing. I don't know why more people don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big responsibility.
It is. I was going to say, I think the reason is because there's risk takers, and then there's people that are the renters. You know what I mean? So, and that's fine. Like, we need people that just do renting, and just people like that don't take the risks. So it works out. But I agree. There's probably a lot more people that would be leading a happier life if they just were willing to.
I know a lot of people who say now that the biggest regret that they have is that they didn't do something about it sooner.
It's true.
Damn. And with that, thanks so much for coming on, dude. It was
Thanks
great
for having me, guys.
Sweet.
Thanks so much for listening to Bone Apple Tea. If you like the show, please give us a follow, like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is. Tell your friends about it. And make sure to follow us on Instagram. That's Bone Apple TV, BoneAppleTeav on Instagram. Thanks so much.